Welcome back, everyone, to the Just One More Level podcast. I am your co-host, Christian.
And I am your co-host, John, and I'm so excited to be playing
Why?
one of my all-time favorite games.
I
No,
don't
it's
understand this guy. Everybody, just everybody. You don't even deserve to talk right now. This guy, he doesn't like Sonic, but he's so excited for Scooby-Doo. I don't understand.
So
and don't get me wrong,
one of my...
I love Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is very exciting. Scooby-Doo Mystery on the Super Nintendo, which is what we played this week, is not exciting at all.
It's just it's a guilty pleasure. It's one of the games that I played as a kid. I had a Super Nintendo in the 90s, and it was awesome. And I had a lot of really cool games for it, and this wasn't one of them. But it's one of the games that I had for the Super Nintendo, and I had a lot of fun playing it as a kid. But when I was a kid, Christian, I'll just say this straight up. NSFW warning, everybody. It scared the shit out of me.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned you had a little bit of a story, and I want to hear this story, but real quick before we do that, Scooby-Doo Mystery is a game where you take control of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, obviously, and you and Scooby walk around trying to help the gang solve mysteries in various locations. There's a lot of problems with this game, and I'm sure we'll get into those, but just from the story standpoint, that's kind of it. You're kind of playing out an episode of Scooby-Doo, so you have a little scene where you arrive on location and get a little bit of story about what's going on, then you explore the location, finding clues, and eventually you set a trap, capture the bad guy, discover who it is, and that's it. That's the story of the game. You're just playing through some episodes of it. It's kind of a 2D platformer, but not a very good one. And then you can't directly move toward or away from the screen, but you can enter doorways that are either in the back of the scene or in the front of the scene or whatever. And that's the very short synopsis for it. But I really just want to get into John's story here. So let's go ahead and do that. That's the game. John, how did this scare the actual crap out of you?
Oh no. Let's keep them waiting. Let's build the tension.
Okay, sure. Let's go. All right.
I'll go into some positives that I have about the game before we tear it.
I think I covered all of mine already.
Okay, so some positives I have about the game. I enjoy the scare meter in concept.
Okay. I'm glad you put that on there because I
enjoy the scare meter in concept. Instead of a health bar in this game, you and Scooby have a scare meter. So anytime you come in contact with an enemy or take damage, your meter goes up because you're getting progressively more scared. You can combat your scare meter by visiting Daphne to get a Scooby snack. You search the area that you're in for clues, and you bring your clues to Velma, who then tries to put the mystery together. And once she thinks that she has it cracked, you visit Fred, who tells you the items that he needs in the game to create a trap to catch the bad guy, which brings me into my next point. I love that all of the characters are present and actually have their own things to do. They're not backdrops, really. They kind of are.
They really are, though. Like, they just kind of walk around in the same sort of area, and then every time you find a new clue, that progresses the localized story a little bit, and they move to a new location or whatever. But I mean, they're basically just backdrops, and they say the same things repeatedly over and over again, and it's just...
Yes, they do.
I don't know. I don't see them as any more than backdrops, really.
That's one of the negatives I'll get into in a bit here. But I like that they all fill their roles from the TV show.
Sure.
So they have they have their things that they do that is like their character, because they could have made them literal backdrops. They just don't say anything. You have to put it all together. But that wouldn't be characteristic of Shaggy. Shaggy is the comic relief that just runs around and gets into trouble. So I like that. And you probably didn't experience this when you were playing, but I know from experience that if you take long enough to solve the mystery, your friends start disappearing. The monster will actually kidnap your friends.
That's interesting. So, how do you complete the game with that? Because you can't continue the game without turning in clues to Velma or talking to Fred or whatever.
Right. You have to visit one of them, and they will tell you what you need to do to get them back. Usually they kidnap Fred or Daphne, so it kind of makes it harder because you can't get your Scooby snacks, or Fred can't give you moral support until he actually serves a purpose at the end of the mystery. So that's usually that's the two characters that actually get kidnapped. Velma remains so that you can give her clues. So the sound is cartoonish, and I like the music that they chose. I want to word this very carefully because there are some huge negatives regarding the sound.
Very, very much so.
The music that is present in the game is actual incidental music from the show. It's a decent 16-bit rendition of it, but not going too far into the negatives, they drive it into the ground.
They really do. It's the same thing, just over and over and over again.
Over and over
and
again.
if it had more depth to it, like in the show, yes, the background music is very simplistic. It's just kind of there. It's just there to add a little bit of noise while you're experiencing the TV show or whatever. But when you're spending a couple minutes just searching for a clue and there's nothing else going on except for this very simple backdrop of a sound playing over and over again of a musical track, it's frustrating. The whole game is.
I will say that I'm glad that they went that route rather than making me regret listening to the Scooby-Doo theme song.
Sure, but they could have just made some original music or something. I mean, you have like so many other games from the area. I mean, we just talked about Sonic last week, and we both are big fans of Mario and games like that. They have very well-known music, you know, just can't think of the words that I want to say. I'm just so mad at Scooby right now. But the point is, they have tracks that you can listen to on repeat and not get tired of. This game does not, and it man.
So like tiny bit about the graphics, there's not much to say.
It's fine.
Tiny bit about the graphics, they're fine. They look well for 16-bit graphics, even though this.
I like the animations.
Yeah, the animations are very cartoonish. The characters look really good for what they are. They look like the characters from the show. There's no scratching your head trying to figure out what you're looking at. They all look like the cartoon characters, which is good because if there's anything that the Super Nintendo could do well, it's, you know, have some decent looking cartoon animations going on. Like you got your Aladdin, Lion King, The Jungle Book. Those were Sega Genesis and SNES games respectively. Those all did well. But all right, now we let loose. Why on earth did they not at least make the tracks longer or more varied or something? Because my goodness, it's either too much sound and it gets monotonous, or it's just weirdly silent while it's switching tracks or restarting the track.
I may have preferred the silence, to be honest with you. It was just so grating listening to the same stuff over and over again, the same 3 notes basically, just kind of it's bad. And it's not like, if it was one thing, if it was just the music, then, you know, you could overlook it, but it's not just the music. And the gameplay itself is sound effects as well, but I was just continuing on from sound design. The gameplay as well is just boring, in my opinion. Maybe the game was aimed towards younger kids, maybe. In that case, I can kind of look over the more boring kind of gameplay. But at the same time, like, you die so quickly in this game. Well, air quotes. You get scared to the point to where you have to start over from the last checkpoint so quickly that as a child, I would have been extremely frustrated with this game. I can't see myself playing it for more than, well, I mean, as an adult, I didn't want to play it for more than 15 minutes. As a child, I doubt I would have did much better. And
well, this was
that really
this was one of those things when you're a kid where there's nothing else to do. This is what you got.
I guess, but I mean, like,
isn't renting you another game this weekend, and
I would rather play Mario for the 1000th time, though. Like,
well, that's the thing for me. I loved Scooby-Doo and the other games that I had, like Super Mario World and Wario, whatever the Wario game was that I had. I had gotten to the point in those games where it was too hard for me to progress. So it was like, I can't beat this level. I don't want to play Mario anymore because I'm frustrated because I can't beat it. So I'm just going to play this game until I get so bored that I cry. So that's kind of the situation that you're in sometimes. You know, you only have these games. You can't buy another one. You can't rent one. This is what you got. So I played this game over and over again, but I never made it past the third world for reasons that I will explain later.
And that brings me right into, though, just what you just said there. The fact that you never made it past the third world. A large part of that was probably because there's no saving in this game, which on a Nintendo game, Nintendo game, free pass, Nintendo game, not having a save, that was kind of the norm. But in a Super Nintendo game, I mean, come on, man. Like, you knew how to do a save game at that point. There's no reason to have a password system. That was just gross when I saw that, the intro screen, which was oddly boring. The intro screen, they didn't have any sort of music playing. They didn't have hardly any animation or anything. It was just a very boring main menu. But anyways, point is, I saw password and I was just, I threw up a little in my mouth.
The password system, by the way, I don't know if you try to utilize it at all, but
I didn't.
Bonkers. It's so many letters.
I only got through the first world, and that took me like 45 minutes or something like that. And
no, this one's symbols. I think this one's symbols. It's symbols for password on this one. I don't remember.
I did get the password, but I honestly didn't pay any attention. It popped up, and I was like, you know what? That's close enough to an hour. I'm done.
Yeah, I remember writing it down as a kid, though. I had like a notebook paper with the password on it.
And if I was
so that I
child
could
trying
play
to complete
again.
this, or if I was an adult trying to complete this, then by all means I would. But
Right.
just no.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's rough. So the password system is bonkers. Let's talk a little bit about the movement. It's very slippery.
And rigid at the
Non-responsive.
same time. Yeah,
Yeah,
non-responsive. That's a good
non-responsive.
way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to die for no good reason. You just like I'm seeing in the video footage right now. You got trapped by a mouse that you were trying to kill, and it just wouldn't let you.
Yeah, I mean, I did figure out at some point that you can throw the fish that I picked up, so maybe I could have used that fish to kill or stun or something that mouse there.
Right.
But the platform, if you're not watching the video, there's a platform that you are required to jump on, and this platform repeatedly takes you right into the path of a mouse. And the mice in this game fill up your scare meter. It literally takes maybe 3 to 5 seconds of being near a mouse for you to quote unquote die. So it's just frustrating. Again, that's just kind of the whole thing for this game. It's just frustrating because like at this point I was already getting tired of the game. Roughly 13 minutes in, I was already getting tired of the game. I just wanted to complete this world, hoping that the next one would be better or whatever. And then I get to this point where the platforming is tedious and just doesn't want to work for me. And to top it off, I finally make a little bit of progress, and this mouse just destroys me in half a second because screw you. That's why. Like,
Yep. That's pretty much how it goes. But yeah, so it's so heartbreaking too, because looking back on it, fond memories for some reason. And did you play the mini games? Did you get to either of the mini games?
Oh Lord, are they bad? I did.
They have the mini games in each level.
I played 2 mini games in this level.
Yeah, they're those same 2 mini games are in every level.
Every level, just those 2. Those 2. Yeah. So the first one was you're building a sandwich, which again, really cool idea, because of course Shaggy and Scooby, they're gonna find a fridge and they're gonna build a giant sandwich. But it is so tight, and then you build up momentum, and it takes like too long to stop. So it's one of those games. Shaggy's throwing stuff up in the air, and then you play a Scooby holding 2 platters, and you have to catch the stuff that's raining down from the sky. It's one of those sorts of mini games. Really simple concept, but it's almost impossible to make it to one side of from one side of the screen to the other. You have to kind of already be there to catch the stuff. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to do it. And it's so easy to overshoot too, because like I was saying, you just kind of slide right past where you want to go. It's just bad. And then I get into a bit of a rhythm, and I fill up the platter, and I think I'm doing really good. My sandwich is massive, and it turns out you can get too much on a platter. And if you get too much on a platter, then you just lose all your progress and have to start over again from scratch.
Yep. And did you the other one is whack-a-mole. Three vases. You just hit the directional button to hit the vase beside you on either side.
The face buttons work too, which were surprising to me, but whatever.
Right. And you have to hit the monsters, but not your friends. And if you hit your friends, you lose points. You hit the monsters, you gain points. And these mini games do nothing. They don't give you special items or even points. I think they're just there for fun. And I have very fond memories of loving the mini games. I loved that you could build a sandwich. I like the
idea
floored.
of it.
Right.
Okay. I think there's a lot of potential here. The ideas that they came up with, I think, could very much make a very good game. I don't know if it was a time constraint, or if it just wasn't a very experienced studio, or if they literally didn't play the game when they were making it. But like, it just it could.
I don't know how do you get the rights to make a Scooby-Doo game and then not get the rights to the theme song? I don't understand why Scooby-Doo Where Are You is not present at all.
At least on the main menu. At the very least, you would have expected it to be there, but nope.
Right. Yep. I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay. So enough teasing. Time for my big story.
Yes, please tell us.
So the third level in this game is a swamp level. Okay. And I progressed through it like normally. Okay. So you have your first level, which is a haunted shipwreck, and kudos to them, by the way. Tiny bit of praise. They didn't use any of the established stories already. They came up with new stories.
Okay. I mean,
new monsters.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's nice.
So you got haunted shipwreck, you got haunted circus, whatever, and it's nonsense, by the way, that you took fall damage right there.
It is.
It really is. Point that out.
Fall damage is a thing in this game as well, which is especially bad whenever you consider how bad the platforming is. But
right.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
story. So anyway, third level is a haunted swamp, and the haunted swamp was brand new territory for me. because I had only ever played the first 2 levels. I had never beaten the second level when I was a kid, right? So I finally make it to the swamp level, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? What's going to be happening here? And there's a jump scare. There's a jump scare in the middle of the swamp level where you can't control it and you can't fight it. It just comes out of nowhere and happens to you. And I literally ran screaming from the room. And had nightmares for a couple of days, and then my mom told me, all right, no more Scooby-Doo mystery game. You can't play this game anymore. And that was it. That was the last time that I played this game as a kid until I was able to recollect it as an adult. So a bad jump scare ruins the game for me as a child, and I wasn't able to complete it ever. I've still never beaten it, but I have beat those first 2 levels again, just out of spite.
Bit of a spoiler for me personally. I don't see myself ever beating it. Not because of difficulty, but because it's bullshit.
But so it's that it was a bit traumatizing for me in my youth to be jump scared so horribly by this masterpiece. This masterpiece. And the game just feels like a damn creepypasta. It's just so weird. It's so weird and atmospheric, and the music is repetitive and then silence, and it feels like
you could make a really good ROM hack with this though. That actually sounds like a great idea, because you mentioned your friends disappearing if you take too long. Imagine a ROM hack where they make it intentional to they force you to take longer so that your friends start disappearing, but then instead of you saving your friends, you find them
horribly mangled and dead.
Yes, essentially. That's what I'm getting at. That sounds like a
the
great
Sonic EXE.
Yeah. That sounds like a great creepypasta game to me right there.
Because that's how it felt for me. It just gave me the chills. It just gave me the willies back in the day. Like I don't know what else to say about it. It was just the environments and that jump scare, that horrible jump scare that I had to deal with. But yeah, it was just weird. It just feels like the perfect brew for, like, I could see this on a top 5 video, a top fives, you know, like just this footage of Scooby-Doo, because it looks just real enough, just enough like a true representation of the property, but just a little off, you know,
kind of hits that uncanny valley
kind of uncanny valley. Like the characters don't move just quite right. They don't look just quite right. It's kind of a bastardization of the characters, you know. There's something there. There's something there. That's my brain cooking, but that's how you know that your game's not that good, when you you force the player to think of all the ways to make it better. That's generally when you know that you haven't quite hit your mark.
Your game's not very good whenever you play it for 10 minutes and you're so frustrated that you just want to burn the cartridge, but then you realize that it's your good friend's cartridge, not your own, and so you don't, but you really wish you could. That's when you realize that, hey, we made a bad game.
This game I picked up, by the way, for I think a pretty please at the exchange. I think I just pointed at it and said, "Can I get that one?" And they said, "Just take it.
Just take it. Nobody's ever gonna buy this one. Just take it from us. We'll pay you. Is there another game you want? You can have another game for free if you just take this one with you."
Right.
There was one more thing, just a little tiny thing. I was a little confused about being able to carry more than 3 items at a time, because the UI on this game makes it appear as though you can only carry three different things, but it turns out you can carry as much crap as you want, and it just kind of cycles through them all. But there's no like proper menu for your items. It's just a HUD, just a heads-up display that displays 3 items at a time. That's it. So I ended up having to do a lot more backtracking than I otherwise would have had to do, because I was leaving items behind that I didn't think I would need anymore. So but that's it. That's all I have to say.
Mystery, everybody.
Absolutely adore Scooby-Doo as a franchise. I own like 10 different Scooby-Doo films. I love the TV show. It's just
I have 6 pair of Scooby-Doo socks.
Nice.
And I own a couple of the movies on VHS. I have Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island and Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost on VHS. I own the entirety of Scooby-Doo Where Are You on DVD.
I don't own that yet, but I definitely will soon. I've been looking for a good deal on it because I want it.
I have the entire original series on DVD. I think I also own Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers on VHS, which was one of my favorites growing up, along with Zombie Island. Zombie Island was another one that just scared the shit out of me. That scene, listen, where Velma is taking the video and the ghost writing just appears on the wall when they play back the video. Dude. Oh my God. And they find out that was the first time. Scooby-Doo fought real monsters.
Real ghosts,
Real ghosts. They were real ghosts and they were real zombies. And you didn't know that going into it. That was crazy. Wow. That was crazy.
If you're
crazy.
If you're lucky, the mini game may make the cut. I doubt it will, because I'll be cutting gotten down the audio and whatnot a little bit. But even if it doesn't, you should look up the minigame and see just how bad it is, especially the scrolling texture in the background. Come on, man. Like I guess 90s that sort of thing was that was a thing, I guess, but like it's bad. But anyways, yeah, I don't have anything else to say about this game.
No,
I'm very disappointed because I love Scooby-Doo and the game was terrible.
Right.
And that's it. Would I play just one more level? No. John.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Would I play just one more level?
I can't stand you. Yeah. This dude said no to Sonic last week, okay? I just want to remind everybody of that.
But I would play just one more level provisionally, okay? With provision.
God, yeah,
the provision being, I'll explain myself, the provision being that it's just the only reason I would play just one more level is because of the nostalgia factor. Just because I own this cartridge, I own the physical cartridge, and it's a game that I had as a kid.
Why taint your memories though? Like just leave them leave them as good memories.
Just leave them rest.
Yeah, leave them as they are.
Christian, the same reason that I would play Porky Pig.
Oh Lord. Alrighty. Well, that's it.
Realistically, I don't envision myself playing one more level of this game in the next 10 years. But
right. But someday.
Like conceivably, I would pick it back up just to relive that. That's the only reason. So generally speaking, no, I'm not going to entertain myself with this. But
comment below how much you hate everything. But I'm done.
On how crazy I am for not wanting to play one more level of Sonic, but wanting to play one more level of Scooby-Doo Mystery. All right, so
John, where can we where can people find our stuff?
Guys, you can find all of our links to all of our social medias and the website in the description below the video or on your podcast provider of choice. It's all down there. All of our personal stuff, all of our Just One More podcast stuff, all down in the description below. So be sure to check that out. We have a lot of stuff going on at various points in time. There'll be a poll up when this video comes out. There will be a giveaway at some point in the future that we'll release details on. So be sure to refresh it. Check it out.
And what are we doing Friday for our mini? And then the next episode, what are we covering?
This Friday for our mini-sode, we're going to be covering Resident Evil 0. If you're on the stream, if you're marathoning this stream with us right now, you're going to hear that in just a couple of seconds. But our next mini-sode will be Resident Evil 0, kind of the wrap-up of that style of Resident Evil game. That was kind of the end of an era, because it wasn't too much longer after that, aside from some spin-offs, that the Resident Evil franchise got a big upgrade, went a different direction. So that'll be coming up this Friday in just a couple of days. And next week on the podcast, Christian, what are we going to be playing?
Grand Theft Auto 5. Going to be kicking off our Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. Jumping straight into 5. It's probably the most popular one once you consider like all the online elements and whatnot. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Once you consider all the online elements and whatnot, it's probably the most popular. But outside of that, honestly, we picked it because it's the most modern game, and we don't get to cover very many modern games, even though Grand Theft Auto 5 actually released 8 years ago. So, modern with a question mark, but people still play the heck out of it. So we're going to be talking about that. So if you like Grand Theft Auto, tune in for that one.
Yep. But until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching and or listening on your podcast provider of choice, because you don't have to, but you do. And we appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.